The world was plunged into chaos by the millennia-long war where demon and human fought each other as they waited for the new world. Yet humanity stood no chance against its demonic enemies. This demon thrillingly ordered the human race as he killed one of her sons to lend his clan their blood in order to build their own world, and so the last hope for humanity revealed itself at this instant as the one will appear in humanity's darkest hour to light its path. The demon turned his gaze to the new adversary, only to quickly realize that this new challenger was to be taken seriously. As he and the man's eyes met, the mage quickly used his healing skill, Healing Light, that will harm the demons while helping his allies recover their strength, which amazed the humans. And so as the forces of mankind felt their strength increase, the minions of the devil found themselves suffering great pain. This left the alerted demon curious about this sudden overpowered foe. The dark fighter decided to brush off the many questions and hit the hero with his ultimate hellfire song of the great roar hell demon flame fist, as he was sure it would be enough to kill him. But the mage, who predicted this precipitation, used his light shield destruction that sucks and attacks and harms any devil spawn, shadow, or zombie near it. With that, the young man decided to put his new power to the test. Seeing how his strongest move was blocked left the demon baffled by the fact that humanity possessed a defender this powerful. When suddenly the spell changed forms as it began to heal the demonic monsters while damaging our hero's allies. This left him utterly confused, as what was supposed to be a recovery spell just terminated the humans. Just then, the young man was left startled by the demon sneaking behind his back and affirmed that he had the answer to this question, as this was in fact his own doing. This left our hero baffled, as this was the product of a coding error. Meanwhile, the demon was left terrified as he realized that this young man who instantly wiped out his own allies was worse than his own kind. And so both demon and heroes stood in the air above the recovered forces of hell. Seeing this, the Horned One decided to get the mage to his side, inviting him to dominate this realm with the demons. The protagonist was left relieved by the fact that this demon was programmed to act as such. A glitch had occurred on the first day of testing, as a mage had accidentally terminated his own allies. He had no other choice but to team up with the demons, who proudly gave him a throne, stating that he deserves it. The protagonist had no way to regain his reality and feared that he would soon be discovered as a beginner. Just then, the sound attracted their attention. A feminine presence made her entrance. This was none other than Sky's silent kiss, captain of the succubus army, who affirmed that she had never seen anything like our hero. The demon then leaned on the human and asked him if she was allowed to strip him over for the sake of research. And while the young man's mouth urged her to get away from him, his thrilled heart prayed for this glitch to last as long as possible. And Sir Sky tried to use her powers to enchant the young man, who quickly grabbed her hand as soon as he gained back his senses, before pulling her over and spanking her as a punishment for her insolence, leaving the redhead shocked and the others pleased. With that, our hero kept on punishing the succubus. This left her shocked as this human resisted her charms. But it turned out that our hero was the one who designed her seductive settings, making him think that it would be easy for him to control the demon as their father as he tried to stop the succubus and the red demon from fighting. Our hero wished to enjoy his time trapped in the game as long as one specific troublemaker didn't appear, as he was about to scold the both of them. When suddenly the young man noticed something. The mage jumped out of the black stain's way. After witnessing the appearance of the dark chains, our hero began to wonder if this specific demon had arrived. But as he found himself bound to the ground, the young man realized that he truly was in the presence of the troublemaker. As Shade, the commander of the Shadow Demon Army and the Casket of Dark Thoughts, made its entrance. Confused by the term father, the young man was still shocked by his presence here. Shade asked the boy about the ones that he fathered. This left our hero in a tough spot, as he had the terrible idea of granting the strongest demon the power of telepathy. The commander of the Shadow Demon demanded to be answered, threatening to take the hero's life. The protagonist tried to remain calm in front of the demon in white, even though the character that he had created left him in total panic. With that, Shade prepared himself and launched the level 70 offense skill Shadow Stab at our hero, which ignored all of his defenses. Seeing this, the red demon had to barge in and shield his newest ally from the old one. The demon then affirmed that Shades had no right to his friends while in his home. With that, the demon activated his mind-reading powers and plunged himself into the hero's mind, only to be met with the most luscious thoughts, as this was our hero's way of fighting back. Just like that, the commander of the Shadow Army found himself being bombarded with pretty scenery. But just then, the Red One tried to apologize to our hero on behalf of the Shadow Army commander, seeing how he feared the protagonist's power. The young man found himself staring at the demon's chest as he tried to think of attractive feminine traits, making him have another thought that Shades immediately tried to intercept. Just like that, the protagonist had the most ridiculous, funny, and revolting thought about his new friend, leaving both Shades and himself in utter disgust. With that, Shades asked the red demon doomed to stay safe as he brings the king the latest intel on the new world. Shades then revealed that the young man had piqued his interest. With that, the strongest demon made his way to the exit as he wished for the protagonist to stay alive for their next reunion. Doom then praised him for being the second to stand up to Shades after the king, and while the hero realized that Shades' return would mark his death, Doom wished to celebrate their alliance. After the party, our hero, who still couldn't log off, decided to flee the demons as some were powerful wildcards and seek refuge with their nemesis, the Angel Clan, while thinking of a solution. But as he tried to make his way to the exit, someone halted him. Our hero felt terrified as Hellfire Bringer Doom, who was supposed to be drunk, appeared right in front of him, but the Red One affirmed that, as one of the 8 strongest demons, he was always sober. Doom then pointed out how our hero looked anxious while interacting with the Shadow Demon. This filled the young man with fear, as he prepared himself to fight back, thinking that he had been discovered. Doom then approached our hero with a menacing face and affirmed that he was smart enough to be fully aware of what Shades whispered to the hero before leaving. The Red One then suddenly fell to his knees and begged the young man to stay, as he assumed that our hero had been secretly invited to the Shadow ranks. Our relieved hero felt glad to have designed Doom to be such an idiot, as he affirmed to the Red One that Shades wasn't worthy of him. With that, the relieved Doom asked the young man about the place he was heading to. But just then, they were interrupted by fighting sounds, as 2 demons were fighting. The first tried to enter the fire-melting cave to procure resources for his kin, while the second affirmed that he shouldn't, as angels and monsters dwelled in there. This reminded the designer that he had also created monsters alongside the divine and demonic beings. With that, he affirms to Doom that he wishes to enter the cave as it contains something he seeks. Meanwhile, the angels were left shocked as the demons had won and the fate of the strangers was unknown. This left them confused as the disaster left was too great for a small group of demons to have caused it. With that, the lady began to pray to the Lord of Time for power, allowing her to use the level 70 Mirage of the Past, a powerful angelic spell that enables one to see chosen scenes of the past. With that, all witnessed the scene of the hero decimating the place and how menacing he seemed back then. His power left the angels fearful of him. With that, all began to speculate the human to be a demon, and seeing how Doom surrendered to him, some speculated further, which urged them to list him as enemy number 1 of their clan, and to ask Lai Mengfen, the strongest of their kin, to enter the fight, as it was their highest duty to eradicate the opposing race at once. The volcanoes poured a massive river of lava in the level 70 secret realm, where a party of 10 was preferred. Our hero asked the demon about the reason for his presence here, so Doom explained how he was here to assist him in this lethal place filled with angels. And despite pretending to be relieved, our hero was in fact annoyed, as he had hoped to contact the Angel Clan in this place. The mage then decided to break Doom's will by kicking a small pebble into the lava, releasing a menacing voice stating that it awaits the outsiders on the 3rd layer. With that, a powerful fire beam was released, leaving the forces of the Hellfire army in panic. With that, Doom asked the young man to let him handle this problem, as he used his strongest defensive spell, the Hell Wall. But seeing how the soldiers were still taking damage, Doom realized that this was the scorching gas that trespasses defenses, which meant that all would keep on suffering until death. This made the protagonist realize that it would only take a small hit to eradicate the dying monsters, and so he decided to dispose of them. But just then, the demon that he attacked began to heal. With that, the shocked main character began to run away, as he had to locate the angels at all costs, as Doom tried to warn him about how lethal it is to roam this realm alone. The young man was left unimpressed by the blood loss's continuous damage, seeing how he was a healer, and with that used the recovery skill Starshine. But to his surprise, he began to lose health instead of gaining. Just then, a window appeared and informed him that he took damage due to the passive Clumsy Hands that inverts the skill effect of the player, with its power increasing with each level. This passive was the result of the system glitch, which pissed off our hero, seeing how he was certain to die if deprived of his healing powers. Just then, Doom charged at a monster attacking the healer, and ended him with a single hit for daring to attack his ally. With that, the Red One reassured the human that he shall be safe as long as he stands. The soldiers then informed their commander that they couldn't fight the monsters any longer. This left our hero alarmed, as the monsters had blocked all escape routes, and with the soldiers on the brink of death, the demon commander wouldn't be enough to shield the hero. Seeing this, the healer affirmed to the demon that their only hope was to take on the monsters head-on. With that, Doom rushed through the enemy forces with his Hellfire strike. The protagonist then informed the Red One that they had to escape the 1st layer before the blood loss becomes lethal, and so demon and human tried to go as fast as possible. But the monsters began to overpower the demonic soldiers. With that, the hero began to regret designing this level to be this long. Just then, the young man was filled with fear, as a giant monster tried to surprise him from behind. This left our hero enraged, as these foes had greatly delayed his ascension to the 2nd layer. With that, Doom, who found himself outnumbered, asked the hero to aid him. Having no time left, our hero began to curse the monster, and decided to unleash his Starlight Punishment Moon Strike as a suicidal attack, in order to terminate himself along with friend and foe. The healer was determined to take everyone with him in his fall. This left Doom alerted, as he and the others had no time to find a refuge. But just then, the Red One felt the power, as he and his compatriots began to suddenly heal. Just then, one of the monsters charged at him, only for Doom to tear him apart, as he affirmed that his stamina was restored. And while our hero was unable to comprehend the sudden plot twist, Doom affirmed that he had startled him before asking if all bosses' recovery skills were this terrifying. With that, our hero finally understood that the bug gave him a passive that turned his attack skills into healing skills for the demonic race. But despite that, our hero was still focused on restoring his own health. Just then, the young man was informed by the system that he had leveled up after gaining assistance experience. This left our hero confused, but just then, he remembered how the program allowed players to ascend the levels by assisting another. After seeing this, the young man recalled how his HP limit increases alongside his level, and how he can heal demons despite not being able to restore his own health. With that, the creator cracked a smile as he had finally come up with a solution. And so he called out the Red One, and informed him that they will soon commit carnage. This filled Doom with excitement and thrill. The young man then decided to boost the power of the demons, seeing how they will obey his commands. Just like that, all hellish creatures had their defense and offense increased by 100 points. With that, Doom affirmed to his opponents that he shall not let them escape, making the player Chenji comment on the Red One's lack of caution as he ascends to level 24. Just then, Doom felt a giant hand charging at him from behind. And while Doom assumed that he realized his mistake way too late, Chenji affirmed that he will protect him, as he tests a new power allowing him to bind the Red One in a greenish chain. This was none other than the Starlight Punishment Stardust chain that should entangle the target in a burning Stardust chain, but now gives a random debuff through the chain for 10 seconds. Just like that, Doom began to heal. Just then, the chain broke, resulting in a great explosion that took out the attacking monster. With that, Doom is left amazed by the abilities of the human as he asked him to let him handle the rest of the beasts when he suddenly felt alarmed. As 3 monsters attacked the healer from every direction, the alerted demon rushed to his friend's rescue after realizing how he still hadn't recovered all of his power when he was suddenly left shocked. Seeing how the human had killed a monster, which was the fruit of the glitched skill that restores the health of the target and gives the caster one of its buffs at random for a short time. This sudden twist left our hero surprised as he had gained the Red One's best close combat ability. Meanwhile, at the entrance where stood the guards, the demons noticed an approaching presence, and so they quickly demanded it to leave as this realm was now in the presence of their master or suffer death. But the winged girl ignored the warnings and pointed out how there are a total of 12 well-equipped and well-trained enemies, making them realize that she was an angel. As the heavenly fighter pointed out how they had drunk earlier and how they could have a slow reaction speed, making the demons think that she was praising them. But just as the guards had decided to terminate her, the natural enemy had already deduced the best course of action, which was to decapitate all of them with great speed. With that, she sheathed her blade and informed the others that they could now resume their way. The old man tried to warn Mengfen that despite her being the strongest of their race, she should still be wary of an enemy with unknown powers. But Mengfen reassured him and affirmed that this foe will surely have a weak spot regardless of his power, and explained how she will quickly locate it in order to slay the demon. Meanwhile, the young man used his Starlight Punishment Stardust Storm to unleash a powerful area damage technique. With that, the protagonist suggested proceeding to the next layer as the first had already been accomplished, leaving Doom thrilled. But just then, the young man found himself the victim of a sneak attack, which he blocks with a monster skull within his hand. Just like that, the hero had smoothly stopped a sneak arrow. But in reality, the young man was left in panic, having fraught death, and with that was left intrigued by the mysterious assassin. Just then, he recognized the surprise attacker, as this was none other than the strongest angel herself. This left our blushing hero thrilled. Doom asked the protagonist about the next course of action, while the angels were left shocked by the supposed demon approaching them after blocking their strongest fighter's attack, before wondering if he was the one to single-handedly slay all of the monsters. Seeing this, Mengfen stood on her guard. Our hero greeted them with an innocent smile, but in her eyes, the young man had a creepy expression on his face as he affirmed that he was waiting for her. This left her disgusted, and so Mengfen quickly grabbed her sword and charged at our hero. With that, as the both of them clashed blades, our hero began to think of how he shouldn't spend any more time in this realm. As the angel charged at the demon healer, the young man affirmed that he didn't understand the reason behind this sudden attack, and while he tried to have a conversation with the girl, the sword maiden didn't want to hear any of it. Mengfen then used her insightful observation, enabling her to check the target's stats for a short moment, allowing her to discover that Doom's fighting skill will wear off in 8 seconds. With that, the angel charged head-on. The protagonist then affirmed that she should listen to him before their time runs out in a menacing tone. Seeing this, Mengfen flew into the air as she dared the young man to attack her. With that, the attack angel's sword was launched. The young man tried to use his sword drawing technique, Klai Slash, in order to counter it. Mengfen was about to hit our hero, but just then, the protagonist who grabbed her sword mid-flight affirmed that he was the winner, leaving the angel confused. Just then, the Wing One found herself getting slashed as she realized how much her foe outclassed her. The girl fell from the sky. Seeing this, the monsters charged at her. Mengfen, who just suffered a crushing defeat, had no way of fighting back. But just then, the monster was slashed into 2 pieces. The human who saved the angel asked her if she was now ready to have a conversation with him. This performance earned him the praise of Doom and his minions, seeing how the healer was knowledgeable in martial arts. This left the angels filled with fear as their strongest fighter fell at the hands of our protagonist, which made them realize how powerful he truly is. The young man then asked for an explanation for the sudden violence as he affirmed that he didn't mean any harm. But these words triggered Mengfen as she swore to avenge her fellow angels that were slain by the hero. Yet the young man had no clue about such incidents. Just then, he recalled the start of his adventure and claimed the many deaths to be a mistake on his behalf. Suddenly, an ominous voice affirmed itself to be irritated, as the outsiders had terminated all of his servants. The demons were then filled with fear as the entity promised to trap them here. The system then gave the hero the Melting Fire Butcher achievement for clearing this layer and informed him that the exit was closing as hard mode was activated with the boss angered. With that, the cave began to shake. Our hero quickly grabbed the angel and pulled her out of harm's way. Just then, the ground beneath her exploded. With that, Mengfen demanded to know the reason behind the rescue. So the young man affirmed that he would be helpless without her, seeing how he aimed to get to the angel camp, leaving her with a shocked and blushed face. As they made their escape, the young man asked the Red One to speed up, but Doom reassured him by stating that he could handle himself. As the angel was about to fly away, the old man asked the girl to flee as fast as possible as the exit was almost sealed. Just then, Mengfen grabbed our hero, deployed her wings, and flew away with him while pointing out how he wasn't fast enough. With that began the aerial escape, when suddenly the both of them found themselves under a descending fiery meteor. The young man decided to quickly intervene as he pulverized the enormous rock before it reached them. With that, the exit was rendered blocked before they could escape. The protagonist then proposed to Mengfen to take down the fire-melting boss together, as this was their only way to escape the secret realm. But the Winged One affirmed that she would never work with demons. Just then, the both of them were joined by Doom and his minions, when suddenly the ominous voice was heard cursing the angels from deep inside the cave, startling Mengfen. A powerful lava monster dwelled in the deepest part of the cave, which was the third layer, with it slaying the angels. One of the wounded men begged his allies on the first layer to rescue them. The lava monster then affirmed that he would tear his slave's killer apart after slaying the angels. With that, the protagonist decided to make use of the strongest angel and Commander Doom in order to slay the boss and flee the dungeon, as he was ready to acquire the cave's hidden prizes. And the system informed the player that the challenge had been toughened up by increasing the monster's power. With that being said, the monsters were revived. This left the protagonist alarmed as the system was doing too much. As the reanimated monsters charged at their killers, the demons were left shocked as the angel realized that they must slay them again first. With that, Doom charged up ahead, affirming that he shall not follow the orders of an angel. Mengfen then used her skilled feather sword, allowing her to unleash a rain of blades on the monsters, who remained unfazed by the attack. This made the angel fear that the monsters inside the cave might be troublesome, seeing how powerful these ones are, as she urged to rescue her friends. Doom fought fiercely as he affirmed that he could easily kill the same monsters a second time. Meanwhile, our hero was left amused with this reanimation, as it was the perfect excuse to test the items won from the system. With that, the item Flame Massacre had been unleashed, allowing its user to double the critical damage inflicted upon the target. This earned the young hero the Flame Butcher achievement along with a special all-class effect that greatly enhances critical damage on fiery opponents based on his mana input. The protagonist was left amazed by the system's rewards and realized that it would be in his best interest to get his hands on the most powerful item in this realm before leaving. And while the battle-thirsty Doom was left unsatisfied due to the healer's intervention, the angel found herself blown away by his strength. Suddenly, one of Doom's servants rushed to his master and informed him that the guards they had placed at the entrance were all butchered by the enemy clan. This left the Red One shocked, as he turned to the girl, accusing her of taking his soldiers' lives. With that, Doom charged at her in order to avenge his fallen men. The protagonist had no choice but to intervene. Our hero explained to the enraged commander that they needed to work together in order to survive instead of settling bad blood. Hearing this, Doom demanded an explanation as the hero wished to protect and work with the angelic killer. The hero decided to come up with a solid lie as he feared the demon's reaction upon learning that he wishes to switch sides. But being unable to find a convincing excuse, the young man claimed to have fallen in love with the Winged One. This left the demons utterly shocked. The young man who created the character of Lai Mengfen was easily able to pass for her admirer as he began to describe her backstory. This display was enough to fool Doom, as he was now convinced that the young man was truly in love. Lai Mengfen quickly freed herself from his grasp. Seeing how well this one knew her, she affirmed that his sweet tongue won't be enough to charm her, as she feared him having bad intentions. The protagonist claimed to be honest and affirmed that they should put their differences aside in order to clear this cave. With that, Lai Mengfen decided to use the hero as a way to free her people, claiming that he should assist her in order to prove his feelings for her. While Doom, who feared the young man's power, began to think that it would be for the best to bring a powerful angel like Mengfen to their side. And so the protagonist led the way as they shall fight for their survival. The sneaky healer was left pleased as he was able to fool both angel and demon, and once he gets his hands on this realm's reward, their potential rebellion will be easy to handle. With that, the three of them arrived at the second layer of the secret realm. After pointing out how the gate to the next level was at the top, Mangfin spread her wings and charged up there, but the protagonist tried to stop her, as according to him, flying was forbidden on this level, leaving her intrigued. When suddenly, Lai Mangfin found herself being struck by lightning. The young man rushed to check on the falling angel, but when he checked on her, the girl affirmed that she wasn't gravely injured. Just then, Dune tried to climb up the mountain as flying was rendered useless. This left the player alerted as he urged the red one to stay right where he is, making Dune realize that he was in a perilous situation too. Just then, the demon found himself getting blown away by a sudden burst of lava, leaving him to fall on the ground in agonizing pain. This surprised the young man as the lava burst shouldn't be programmed to be this powerful. Just then, the system informed him that all damage dealt on this layer shall be doubled due to the difficulty increase, making the young man understand why his two powerful allies were left hurt. Seeing this, the protagonist decided to personally handle this matter, and so he began to visualize his path, seeing how the game's difficulty had no importance to our hero as he was the game maker who created and memorized the safest path. With no monsters in this layer, our hero only had to stay on the safe road in order to pass this level. But just then, the young man stepped on a trap. As he escaped the explosion at the last moment, the hero was left shocked as this spot here wasn't supposed to be trapped. Suddenly, another explosion occurred, blowing our hero off the mountain. His fall left Dune worried and alerted. The protagonist had a hard time believing his failure as he surely had stayed on the safe route. Just then, the system informed him that the safe route was rearranged as the game became more difficult. This left the young man irritated as it looked like the system was mocking him on purpose. As Dune wondered about the young man's plan, seeing how he didn't rest after the fall, the angel pointed out that a safe route must exist as only a part of the rock was filled with traps. Chenji couldn't understand why the game had become so challenging after the increase in difficulty. With that, the young man charged at a second attempt. Both Doom and Lai Mangfin were shocked and intrigued to see the protagonist head once again at the trap that damaged him. As soon as he touched the rock, the young man found himself ejected from the mountain once again by a burst of lava, making him crash once again on the ground. With that, Chenji decided to repeat the same procedure, and so he kept on triggering the same trap again and again. But he still wasn't satisfied, which left the angel intrigued. This made Doom speculate that the young man takes pleasure in feeling pain, while Doom speculated that he knew something that they don't. The protagonist was left burned on the ground. The system then notified him that those who endured melting fire eruption 10 times will acquire a special achievement, and with our hero being a Starlight class, he obtained Fire Resistance Aura. Chenji was left thrilled as he had finally acquired the ability that he created to pass this level, which gave him 200 points of fire resistance. The protagonist then turned to look at his allies and affirmed that no planning was now needed as he shall carry them to the third layer. After some time, as the three of them climbed together, a hero advised his allies to keep their distances and to change their course after each trap. Yet the two of them were left worried, as this was the trap route from before, making the angel speculate that this was no accident. As he activated his new power, Chenji affirmed to the both of them that he had it all figured out. This time, the protagonist had a big smile on his face as he activated the trap. Seeing how it exploded in his face, Doom was left worried about his friend. But Chenji was left unfazed and even described the high-pressure boiling magma as gentle warm water, leaving Doom shocked and Lai Mangfin to realize that this was a resistance skill that blocks damage but not pain, making Chenji seem selfless in her eyes. With immunity in his hand, our protagonist was certain to reach the final layer. Meanwhile, in the final level of the secret realm, the struggling angels were blown away by the power of a monster and even speculated that he was an essence rank at least. Just then, the barrier cracked. The angel urged his allies to hold up as the one who slayed the monsters on the first layer must be a powerful angel, which meant that they should only last until his arrival. The monster was then thrilled to reveal to them that the one that conquered the first layer was in fact from the rival clan. With that, the monster made them choose between dying in his hand or the demons, leaving the angels to panic as they asked the knight for instruction. The angel then affirmed that regardless of who enters this layer, he will allow them to flee by playing the sacrifice. Just then, our hero finished climbing. The protagonist had finally reached the final layer, and so he opened the giant door. But as soon as he did, he found his head struck by a sudden quick projectile. Our hero recognized it as the Feather of Mislead, a skill that belongs to the Lord of the Angels that allows one to curse the target with all hatred value for a short period of time. With that, the giant turned to our hero, recognizing him as his slave's slayer, and so it pulled out a giant sword from its core, before charging at the young man in order to terminate him. Seeing how the monster charged at him directly, Kenji realized that he was made a fool of. With that, he and his two allies joined forces in order to block the giant attack. The girl then affirmed that she and the demons stood no chance alone as she called her own kin for help. And while the sight of the Sword Saint's student raised questions among the angels, the knight pointed out how stupid she must be. With that, he ordered his men to run away, leaving the shocked girl intrigued. After exiting the place, the young man affirmed that she should die in their place, before sealing the exit with ice magic. Seeing this, the hero realized that the angels planned on leaving them here with the monster. Shortly after, the angel asked the knight about the reason behind their stay, so he explained how they had no means of exiting this place unless the boss dies, and how they should wait for the monster, Doom, and Lai Mengfen to destroy each other before finishing all of them off. Desperate bangings could be heard from behind the door. The demon lord urged the angel to open the exit as he had almost reached his limits. But Lai Menfeng explained how this ice seal was an exclusive technique from her clan and how the death of its caster was the only way to quickly break it. The monster expressed his desire to see how long the three of them could survive him. Doom then called out the girl on her hypocritical clan as it was even ready to sacrifice its own. Hearing this, Lai Menfeng deployed her wings and affirmed that she was clueless about the cause of her comrade's behavior and assured that since the fault was hers, it was her duty to rewrite this wrong before slashing the monster's upper arms. With that, the winged one fell from the sky. Lai Menfeng was using a life-draining skill called Burning Feather that will set her wings on fire and grant her great power in exchange for her own life once the wings burn out. Our hero affirmed that there was no need for such extreme means, but Lai Menfeng affirmed that this was the only way to beat the powerful boss and exit his domain, so the mage explained that he actually knows the monster's weak spot, leaving the angel and the demon shocked. The protagonist explained that the secret realm creatures who were used to guard certain divine artifacts were to have desires and minds of their own as time passed. As the boss had almost finished regenerating and was about to enter the second phase, the young man explained how the artifact usually counters its attribute opposing guardian, which was in this case the divine artifact in the furnace behind the fiery beast, before explaining how they could feel the item's great power despite the seal between them, earning him once again the praise of Doom. But this knowledge wasn't something quite impressive to possess, as the protagonist was the original creator of the game after all. The fiery beast began to curse the three fighters for plunging him into agony, before summoning reinforcements. As the system informed our hero that the enraged boss entered the second stage, the monster ordered his minions to kill all of the intruders. Seeing this, the healer asked his allies to distract the monsters while he gets the divine artifact, leaving Doom worried. So the protagonist asked the Red One to have faith, as his fire resistance should allow him to bypass the lava within the furnace. With that, the three of them prepared themselves for the great clash. With that, both sides charged right at each other. Lai Menfeng rushed to the monsters in order to open a path for the demon and the human. Her skill Archangel Sword carved the way by evaporating everything in its path as she urged the both of them to hurry. And so the healer and the demon commander rushed to the furnace. Having guessed their plan, the boss decided to charge our hero in order to prevent his own defeat. But to our hero's surprise, Doom intercepted the monster before using his demonization, and after affirming that he will be okay, the Red One left the artifact in our hero's hands. After reaching the lava, the young man jumped into the air and activated his fire resistance. Before diving into the scorching lava, his allies were relieved to see him reach the lava. The ice heart was almost in our hero's reach, when suddenly the angered boss plunged his hand into the furnace in order to extract the human. Salvation was almost in his hand, but in return, he was almost in death's grip. The monster then fiercely closed his fist. With that, the boss was left thrilled and his enemy filled with fear, as all speculated the failure of the healer. When suddenly, the young man emerged from the lava with the ice heart, freezing the boss and depriving him of his resistances for 15 seconds, leaving his allies overjoyed. With that, the protagonist was left relieved, when suddenly the skill Angel Grasp snatched the artifact from his hands. Bai Chong was thrilled to see that the secret realms contained secret artifacts, and when asked for an explanation by the girl, he affirmed that he will be delivering the ice heart to their camp. Lai Menfeng affirmed that she would have never expected to meet such scum in the noble ranks of the righteous angel camp. Doom affirmed that she should stop the scolding and start the beating, and so both angel and demon charged at the thief, leaving him amused. As he activated the ice heart, Bai Chong reminded them that he was now in possession of a divine artifact, leaving the both of them frozen and unable to move. Seeing how the two great fighters were no match for his power, the young man let out a hysterical laugh, assuming himself to have become the strongest angel. Just then, our hero approached the thief and affirmed that he didn't give him permission to play with his artifact. Bai Chong recognized our hero as the mysterious one from a different world. After letting out a disappointed sigh, our hero affirmed that the angels had greatly differed from their noble design, which is why he will be staying with the demons, sparing them betrayal. Seeing the young man pull out a sword made the knight speculate that he would be attacked head-on. But as he turned around, the young man affirmed that he wasn't his main priority now, as the boss was far more urgent. With that, the lava monster was split in half by flame slaughter that doubled the damage and canceled its resistance, ultimately causing its end, leaving the angels baffled by his strength. The system rewarded him with the Enemy of the Blaze achievement and the magma armor helmet and gauntlets, along with the Magma Lord as a pet for being the first to kill it, pleasing him. This angered the angel, as he was hoping to personally slay the Lava Lord as he unleashed the power of the Ice Heart. Just then, the young man activated his magma armor, but the powerful spell was quick, resulting in an instantaneous explosion. But our hero, who just equipped it on time, was left unscratched, as he was now wearing 3 pieces of the magma set, which will grant 1 powers depending on how many pieces he possesses. Bai Chong urged his men to help him defeat the human before he gives the realm's treasure to the enemy clan. The amused hero decided to imitate the knight and call reinforcements of his own. With 1 tap of his staff, the protagonist summoned the recently deceased Magma Lord, who was able to use Magma Fist, and despite losing most of his power, it became triple its original size. Our hero's reborn pet's mere presence urged the angels to use their defensive barrier. The angels struggled to repel the attack, but seeing their barrier made the hero realize why they could withstand the boss for so long and pointed out how it had no effect on him as he cast Flame Shield, which upon being affected by the glitch, allowed the user to deal an insane amount of fire damage on a friendly unit, leaving them baffled in agony. After experiencing the outsider's power, the knight decided to use his Ice Heart to quickly end him, when suddenly he found himself immobilized by the modified controlled dispel that restrains an ally for 10 seconds. With that, the angel's divine artifact was snatched. The protagonist, who quickly freed his allies from the ice, began to think of how easy it was for him to counter the angels with his glitched skills. Upon release, the angered Red One was determined to slay the shameless angels, and so he charged at the knight in order to end his life, only for him to be blocked by the girl. The angered demon was shocked to see her defend her kinsman despite his actions. Lai Mengfen explained that she didn't do it for him, as the elder of their clan who escaped at the beginning must be waiting at the exit of the transformed secret realm, affirming that an all-out battle will occur between the 2 clans if the knight and his men are recklessly slain. With that, the hero agreed to spare the angels but decided to impose 2 conditions, picking the girl's curiosity. After thinking of how the Sword Saint's disciple was right about the bloodbath, the hero realized that he doesn't wish to either join or fight the angel clan. And so he imposed the death of the knight as the first condition, stating that the angel camp should handle it, which the girl confirmed, seeing how rebuking his crimes were. The hero then decided to impose his second condition, stating that he wanted Lai Mengfen, leaving her shocked with a blushed face. Meanwhile, the old man affirmed to his forces at the gate that no harm shall be done if their kinsman appeared from the portal. But if it turned out to be a demon, they should be ready to put their lives at stake in order to kill it. Just then, all soldiers were left shocked as a voice responded from the portal. Finding a challenge in the angelic order, the arriving commander of the succubus army was left amused. Upon being put down by her men, the succubus affirmed that her 2 shoes weren't enough for them to share. Just then, one of the angels went down on his knees and began to admire the general, when suddenly another soldier became enchanted by the demon. This rebuked the elder, who used his divine persuasion dispel in order to free his man while knocking him into the ground. This made the succubus call him out on his ruthlessness towards his own. With that, the old man ordered the soldiers to strengthen their minds and to get into formation in order to purify the succubus. With that, they used their secret technique, Holy Light Baptism, which was a large-scale attack whose power depended on the number of angels, especially effective against dark creatures. And so a powerful beam of light began to descend, striking the demon general. The succubus pointed out how the angels even resorted to the light divine artifact to deal with her. So the elder explained how this attack was meant to avenge their brethren who fell to a specific foe in one blow, and that she should be overjoyed to be killed by it. But as the tension began to rise between the 2 sides, Heart of Ice was suddenly cast, shielding the succubus from the angel's purifying light. The healer had arrived along with his 2 allies. With that, a cold weather was cast upon the angels. The hero immediately went to check on the succubus, who affirmed that the angels were too strong for her, as they were even able to burn her wings. This left the protagonist angered as the angels had almost terminated his child, as his new weapon destroying the light artifact shard along with increasing the damage on the angels. With that, the angels found themselves trapped in the ice, leaving the girl alerted. And so Lai Menfeng begged the healer to spare them, as their death would spark an even bigger conflict between angels and demons. The hero agreed to release them only if she agreed to sign the scroll in his hand. This was a golden contract that would greatly increase the experience of his along with the dungeon reward, while also making our hero the only one able to enjoy them. Seeing how the elder was on the brink of death, the angel had no other choice. And so, as promised, her brethren were released upon signing the contract. The elder recognized the young man as the one who killed his fallen angel and vowed to terminate him in anger, before urging the girl to return to their side. Just then, a portal suddenly opened near the elder. From it came out the beaten-up knight, who begged the old man not to listen to the girl, claiming that she was the one that helped the demons acquire the Ice Heart after falling for the outsider. Yet Lai Mengfen affirmed that he was the sole traitor to their race and responsible for countless casualties, while Dune was left amused by the angelic internal conflict. As the demon tried to persuade her to join their cause, the girl explained that she tried fighting the demons and only allied herself with them as she had no other choice. With that, the girl affirmed that she would immediately execute the knight. Doom tried to intervene but was quickly stopped. Our hero affirmed that they owed Lai Menfang, who helped them escape despite the bad blood, and that they should let the angels judge the night, earning him more of her trust. But as the elder tried to argue, a lightning bolt suddenly fell from the sky. Strings of data began to fall from the sky. The protagonist was left baffled as the world tree had suddenly appeared. Meanwhile, in City C in the physical world, a scientist stated that they were still analyzing the physical and neurological condition of the subject, as on the cold table lied the real body of our unconscious hero, whose game was about to get updated. The digital arboretum, also known as World Tree, was the origin of all the races in the game while also being its center, as it stores the data of the player and every element of the game. But the World Tree was in fact supposed to appear much later on. All felt alerted as the World Tree began to absorb their life force. Some were unable to escape, like the knight who begged for rescue. Just then, the skill sword of the angels sliced off his arm, saving him from the tree. While the girl affirmed that her intentions were noble, the knight was left angered. The elder asked them to cease their dispute, and affirmed to the knight that Lai Menfeng had just saved him from the world tree, and that they should summon her master in order to control this situation. The hero couldn't understand the tree's sudden appearance, while Doom urged him to escape. The succubus decided to call for reinforcements, as taking on the origin of all races was no mere task. And so two opposed portals were opened. From the first came out Ryan, the sword saint of the Angel Clan, and from the second, Blus, the Shadow Scholar. And while the hero began to think of how early it was for these two to face each other, the system stated that the tree must be an outside intervention, which is why he should act fast. The two powerhouses of the opposed sides began to cast Veil of World Life, a skill requiring the intervention of the two opposing clans, meant to contain the tree and repair it once complete. With that, the hero asked his allies to help him reach the tree before it becomes cut off, affirming that they didn't have time for details. As he activated many speed skills in order to reach the tree, Doom and Lai Mengfen were left intrigued by the young man charging at what seemed a certain death. The Shadow Scholar noticed the three of them and decided not to intervene, leaving our hero grateful as smart NPCs like him were easy to reason with. When suddenly a sword of light blocked their way. This was the unreasonable Sword Saint, who used his skill Sword Body Doppelganger, which summons a clone of energy almost as strong as the main body for 10 minutes. The protagonist urged Lai Mengfen to open up a path, and so the girl apologized to her teacher, before charging at his clone, eliminating it in one thrust. With that, our heroes were finally able to enter the barrier, leaving them face to face with the World Tree. To the angels and demons' surprise, the young man quickly made contact with it. The system urged him to try to reach the real world as he hoped to make the outside aware of his situation. With that, a bright light occurred. Once inside the game center, the young man tried to reach the scientists, asking them for the reason behind his virtual prison. Just then, the countdown for the update was set in motion. As a wave of data attacked the young man, the system affirmed that it found an alien living outsider. The update would prioritize erasing the mysterious glitch, and with it being eliminated, the young man felt alerted. As the countdown reached 0, the young man seemed to have found something. With that, the beta world was put to an end as the game had been updated. A man entered the room asking for updates, so the scientist explained to Mr. Wang that despite their efforts, they were unable to contact Chen Ji, who might never wake up after the update. At first, Wang seemed concerned by his friend's slumber, but in reality, he was overjoyed at the opportunity to get his hands on his fortune. With that, the scientist informed the president that the inventors wanted to release the server, which he agreed on. Wang then demanded to increase the cooldown of the World Tree to a maximum and deprive the beta testers of their experiences before proceeding. With that, the world had been reset, as a powerful blow emerged from the World Tree, knocking our hero back and leaving his allies concerned for him. With that began the override as all stopped moving to our hero's surprise, before landing on his back. Stating how everyone was deprived of motion, the young man deduced that this was the result of the override. This infuriated Chen Ji as those outside restarted the game with his mind being trapped inside, and so he rushed at the World Tree. But seeing how he didn't have the access level necessary to use the tree, the young man began to think that he would remain here forever. Just then, the system asked him to calm down, seeing how players like him didn't have the necessary level to use the World Tree. Shenji asked the system if he would be able to reuse it after ascending the levels, but it wasn't sure, stating that the reset of the tree was unclear, and that players lost their experience. The system then explained that the maximum level wasn't 30 anymore, making the new level 90 NPCs very difficult to deal with on the newly opened official server, before affirming that all should begin to move as the update was finally complete. Just then, Ryan used his high-level skill Moonblade that sends a powerful moon-like wave in the target's direction. But the scholar was quick, as he quickly used his defensive skill that absorbs and redirects damage to block this sneak attack. As the Moonblade destroyed the ground, a tension installed itself between the two of them. Ryan pointed out how the scholar's power must have also been increased by the World Tree, but the demon affirmed that this was no blessing, as it had obviously unlocked their chain strength. Doom and Lai Mengfen couldn't help but be crushed by the sudden power of the two rivals. Yet their sudden power-up wasn't what startled the protagonist, but the fact that the three of them had terribly regressed. Upon asking the system for an explanation, it stated that the experience reset that targets beta players had also affected the two of them for being close to him. Chenji then began to think of how these NPCs had risked their lives for him, while his human friend had abandoned him in order to satisfy his own greed. Just then, the young man had an idea, and felt relieved upon checking his inventory and finding all of the items he obtained during beta testing. But just then he noticed that he possessed an orange-grade equipment named the Radiant Octagonal Die that was rarer than the Ice Heart, and that will stay with him forever upon unlocking at level 13. As Chenji informed his team of his discoveries, the system affirmed that he will retain all of his possessions and that he even gets a soulbound item, a type of item where each one is unique. Seeing how distracted the three of them seemed, the now level 25 knight decided to take this chance and kill the girl, as it would make it easier to frame her for his crimes. And so he charged at the girl with his skill Sacred Blade Slice that gives him a blade of ice. Lai Mengfen dodged a fatal blow. The injured girl demanded an explanation, so Bai Chong, whose theory was just confirmed, affirmed that his reasons were simple. As he affirmed that he wanted her dead, they realized that he planned on taking them down with him as he used Eternal Holy Punishment that uses his body to deliver a powerful attack. The hero asked his allies to hold on to him as they should get away from the angel first. And so the healer used the priest's skill Vanishing Act that makes the caster and his party invisible and allows them to escape the enemy in a quick moment. But due to the bug, the skill mutated, bursting the aura of the caster's party while closing the distance between them and the enemy. This left the angel and the demon amazed by the healer's ability. Bai Chong was unable to believe it, as the unscratched Chenji ordered the blood-coughing knight not to mess with him. The system then affirmed that due to the bug, two explosions collided, leading to the death of Bai Chong. This left our hero alarmed as he only aimed to increase his stealth, yet an angel just lost his life at his feet in front of the two powerhouses. With that, the both of them charged at him, and while Ryan made the young man the target of his revenge, the scholar aimed to turn him into his own test subject. The elder then accused the young man of murdering his angels, but the girl affirmed that only the knight was at fault. Just then, Chenji noticed that Ryan charged at him while chanting his spell, unleashing the skill Angel Judgment that judges the target on its evil deeds based on its memories and also weakens angels and captures souls of demons when dew began to glow. The scholar had used his demon-exclusive powers in order to shield Doom from judgment. The demon then noticed that the other three weren't summoned by his demon-exclusive skill. Ryan was then left baffled, as the memories of his students revealed that she was telling the truth. With that, the two of them were spared from the wrath of the Angel clan. But the Sword Saint's skill effect wasn't done just yet, as our hero was rewarded Bai Chong's experience for saving the girl, but the absorption was so fast that Chenji risked exploding. This made our hero agonize in pain. This left the protagonist no choice, and so he charged at the angels, who assumed that he was still angered by their misjudgment of him. Ryan tried to shield the angels while apologizing on their behalf, but as he smacked him, the healer affirmed that he was in a rush. The hero used Twinkling Stars, whose bugged version will transfer power to the allies, giving them a fraction of the earned experience along with immunity to enemy effects. This left the angels feeling refreshed as their strength had mysteriously been increased, but also intrigued as the protagonist, who was a supposed demon, was able to lend them his magic, but most importantly decided to aid them. This made the Sword Saint and the old man recall how a powerful angel once infiltrated the demon ranks in order to cleanse them, making them assume that he was the same person. Just like that, Chenji, who barely escaped an explosive death, was mistaken for Archangel Michael. The angels then bowed in respect to their supposed superior, apologizing for their sins as they offered him a seat back in their home, leaving him intrigued. But confusion was quickly replaced with fear as his feats had picked up the interest of the Shadow Scholar. Seeing how the summoning didn't work on him, he assumed that the hero was either superior to the 8 great demons or just human, as he saw how well the angels were treating him. With that, the powerful demon decided to experiment on this strange specimen as he affirmed to Ryan that he was his to test on. Just like that, the angels found themselves imprisoned in Shadow Trap, a skill that will teleport all nearby targets anywhere. Our hero also found himself shackled in Shadow Restrain, which restrains the target along with half of his magic as it prevents the use of his most powerful skills. The hero then felt admiration for Doom, who charged at Gloss in order to save him, but was quickly left disappointed seeing how easily he was sent flying. As he began to exit the scene, Gloss affirmed that he would be experimenting on our hero, who was well aware of the Shadow Scholar's favorite methods. This made Chenji regret giving this demon such a malefic mind and realize that he must free himself from the cold and calculated Gloss. Seeing how the demon wouldn't stop until his curiosity was satisfied, the hero affirmed that he had nothing interesting to offer, aside from the secrets of the world tree that he would reveal upon being released, as the Shadow Scholar's obsession could only be redirected. At first, the hero assumed that Glows was falling for his trick, but in reality, he wasn't convinced that the protagonist had any knowledge about the divine artifact. Chenji implied that upon making contact with it, he became aware of the two rival clans' origin, along with the existence of a godly goal that he would only reveal to the curious one once free. With that, Gloss released our hero, who showed the amazed demon his soulbound item, when suddenly Chenji activated the effect of the dice to Glaz's surprise. With it, our hero gained the effect of random roll, which was immune to the bug and allowed him to replicate the skill of a target on the field and use it at will for 5 minutes once a day. The protagonist had successfully replicated the skill of the elite demon. Glaz was then left baffled as he was being targeted by his own move, and with it being the dice's upgraded version, the Shadow Scholar was left confused as he was deprived of both mana and skill. As the hero approached him, affirming that he wouldn't harm him if he just complied, Glos began to wonder about his identity. Shortly after, the one on the throne asked for the reason behind Glos being late, speculating that it must be related to an issue with the World Tree. She also expressed her intrigue as everyone suddenly rose to level 90, including the Lord of Gluttony Aemon, the Lord of Envy Marta, and the Lord of Envy Vakarn. As the telepath proposed to go check on the situation, an arriving presence explained that this was all due to a new world that would soon dawn, before explaining that a large number of outsiders would soon arrive, spreading chaos wherever they may roam. This was none other than Chenji arriving with the 3 other demons, stating that this could be a chance for the demon clan to prosper. The protagonist then added that their appearance would also reveal the presence of a new secret realm, and that the resources of this realm would fall in the hands of whoever enters it first. Gloss was then asked if the World Tree contained any anomalies, which the Shadow Scholar quickly denied. The telepath was shocked to see that the childlike demon wasn't lying. With that, the demon White decided to intervene, questioning our hero, who seemed to be willing to aid the demon clan against his own kin. Chenji quickly presented his soulbound item as proof of him being an emissary of the previous demon king. Yet none of the demon lords believed him, as he was just a level 13 challenging the Shadow Lord, claiming to be the messenger of a king that had been absent for millennia. The succubus urged the young man to fight them and showcase his might. Shadow then affirmed that the one being squashed by his energy wasn't worthy of being the emissary of their previous ruler, before squashing his hand with his boot while insulting him. Yet our hero wouldn't be discouraged by this, as he used Berserker Brawl in order to free his hand. Chenji then began to gather mana. With that, he managed to put his magma armor on, stating that the shadow would fall in 5 minutes. In reality, the young man only made this bold claim due to the short usage period of his orange tier item. Shadow decided to quickly kill his foe, but as he began to chant his spell, our hero suddenly used Shadow Restrain. The shocked telepath managed to dodge at the last moment, unable to believe that a level 13 possessed the same skill as the Shadow Scholar, and so he decided to adopt a different maneuver. With that, the demon in white used the Eye of the Curse. Despite knowing that the demon was trying to drag him into his own dimension, the young man wasn't impressed, as he was able to use his die power to replicate this specific skill. The sight of the dimensional clash left the demon lords baffled by the artifact's power, and so they all decided to go and try to steal it. With that, our hero found himself getting attacked by 3 demon lords at the same time. All charged at him with powerful skills and all aimed to take his life. Just then, Chenji remembered that the one in white could fully conceal himself within his dimension. With that, the young man decided to copy the skills of the other 3 demon lords. Chenji then used these very skills in order to counter the aggressors. But as the die's timer hit 0, Shadow managed to sneak up behind our hero. And after grabbing him by the neck, the one in white was fully prepared to take the healer's life. Just then, our hero called Lilith, who was sitting on the throne, by her full name. Lilith, who separated the 2 of them, was now convinced that our hero was truly an acquaintance of the past king, seeing how he was aware that the use of her real name could summon her. After lifting Chenji's chin with her finger, Lilith asked him about the prize that he desired. So he claimed that he wanted to inherit the will of the previous king in order to offer prosperity to his clan, but in reality, he just wanted the demon clan as an ally and disguise in case Wang finds him. According to our hero, the invasion will start from the Mist Forest in less than a day, with a portal appearing at the abandoned Dion clan altar, which is why he advised the queen to immediately ready her forces. Lilith then turned to her lords, asking them for plans in order to deal with the powerful invaders. Shadow suggested forming elite task forces from the strongest members of each of the 7 leaders' command in order to launch many surprise attacks from different locations. But the 3 others became concerned, as it meant the leader of this force would receive the biggest share of the reward. And so they opposed Shadow's plan and affirmed that each army should work alone for more efficiency. Our hero speculated that the president will send an assassin as a player to finish him off, and since he can't hide his username and the enemy was unknown, Chenji realized the danger, which is why he decided to convince Lilith to grant him a military position as well as disguise himself as an NPC. Chenji then watched the 4 great demon lords fighting like children. And while Glaz was bored and the succubus was left amused, Doom was itching for battle. With that, Lilith decided to stop their childish behavior as she snapped her fingers. The fight was suddenly interrupted by a portal appearing above the demons' heads. As a giant 3-headed hellhound fell from the portal, Chenji couldn't help but admire the smooth summon of the demon queen. The beast then began to attack the 2 demon lords who begged for rescue. The other 2 tried to run away from the giant monster. despite having died in the real world. This Da will be forever immortalized in this game, as all were running for their lives, yet our heroes stood firm. Kenji ordered the beast to sit, having recognized it as Ares. The hound immediately obeyed, earning him the praise of his original master. This command of the beast impressed the demon queen. The healer then proposed himself as the leader of the demon ranks, as all the lords were equal in status. The lords didn't approve of this, but Lilith quickly agreed, as he was the most knowledgeable about the outsiders, earning him a new title of commander that he could use as he pleases. With that, the demon queen began to threaten that in case Kenji was a liar, she would personally execute him, but the healer affirmed that he won't disappoint her. With that, our hero is finally ready to face Wang Tengru. After that, in the Mist Forest, Doom asked Shenji if this was truly the starting point of the invasion, as nothing odd seemed to be happening. And just as he affirmed that the portal should soon appear. Seeing how the invasion was close, the vortex suddenly appeared. According to the protagonist, the new realm that is called the Beginner's Village will be entered by level 1 adventurers, but after exiting, they will even be able to rival demons. Doom then deduced that their main goal was to eliminate the adventurers while they were still weak, aside from pillaging this new realm. Now fired up, the demon proposed to charge head-on, but just then, our hero pointed out that none of the other demon lords had arrived, which is why they should wait. Excitement was replaced with an awkward silence as Doom struggled to explain the situation. This made the hero realize that they were the only members of the resistance army. Doom explained that the other demon lords wished for the healer's downfall, and with him being a human, no demon would want to follow him, before explaining how all of his minions turned on him after he regressed. Kenji tried to reassure him, stating that they would restore his level in this secret realm. Just then, someone arrived. The demon lords, who were surprised to see that the hero told them the truth, decided to charge into the realm, with each one of them relying on his own army. This confirms to the demon elites that the healer was truly sent by their previous king. Yet Lilith still couldn't believe that the supreme demonic being would rely on a human, pointing out how, despite all, Shenji seemed to share a deep connection with the angel clan like Lai Mengfen, who felt alerted by the strong gathering of demon magic. 1 hour before it all happened, the hero explained how the wild desert was the least favored by the players, as it had more risks than gains, yet it was perfect for luring monsters with potions. He then told his party to walk on his footprints in order to not trigger any quicksand trap. As a giant horde of beasts appeared, the young man tasked Yoon with trapping the monsters, smashing the weak ones as the girl finished them all, and to prioritize experience over items. With that, the Red One began to make rocks rain upon the monsters. As the farming kept going on, our hero kept gaining experience. With that, the healer jumped from level 13 to 15 as his level 16 allies asked for the rest of the strategy. Shenji revealed that they would use something named Match 3 Game, which consisted of letting the surviving powerful monsters fight each other to the death in order to reduce the struggle while increasing the efficiency. Just then, the luring potion was destroyed, greatly enraging the strong beasts. With that, Doom and Shenji began to run for their lives. But before the monsters could catch them, Lai Mengfen lifted them into the air, allowing them to escape. With that, the monsters were left to fight each other, which is why the protagonist affirmed that they would cause another battle after this one ends in 10 minutes. And so, after countless matches, many equipment pieces were dropped. Our hero had reached level 29 as his allies breached level 30, leaving them concerned for him, yet Shenji reassured them that all was under control, when suddenly, something big had arrived. Our hero felt glad upon seeing the level 30 evil-natured Nyan, the Lord of the Sands, a giant sickness-spreading serpent trapped in this wild desert. As the monster launched his venom, the young man summoned his fiery pet, in order to shield himself from the poison. The magma demon then raided his fist, and attacked man as his master used his soulbound item. As the serpent began to overpower the pet, our hero copied the angel's wings, who was now convinced that he was the Archangel Michael, who doesn't recognize their clan. Doom then felt overjoyed upon seeing the hero use his skill Flame Shield. As he used her sword skill to deal an unholy amount of damage, Lai Mengfen speculated that the hero aimed to destroy the demons from inside. With that, the system praised the hero for being the first to kill the serpent, allowing him to reach level 30 and giving him a new skin and the serpent fang staff, a green tier equipment. This left our hero confused, as they should have received the key of the secret realm for meeting all the requirements and being the first to slay this boss. The system then explained that the game recognized them as NPCs, which is why Izura's key was given to the second guild who met these requirements, which was the Chilling Wind Guild. With that, Chilling Wind had obtained this key once again, as they were the first guild in beta testing to have all its players at level 30. This guild was also being secretly sponsored by Wang Tengru. These players might be more knowledgeable about the game than the creator himself. Yet the scariest part was that they had already encountered him in the company. With that, Shenji realized that he was now in a tough situation. Yet his allies didn't understand his fear, as they affirmed that he could count on them. And so he grabbed them by the shoulder, before stating that they should stick to his plan. Later on, as our heroes began spying on two opposing guilds, Shenji asked his party to draw the attention of the players while he steals the key. But as the two guilds began to fight, Doom pointed out that there was no need for them to act, leaving our hero overjoyed. A member of the hidden benefactor asked his guild master to escape with the key while he holds the chilling winds back. Kenji then tasked his team to use trickery in order to snatch the key after catching up with him. Upon deploying her wings, Lai Mengfen claimed that she shall open the inner world of Asura for the player if he gives her the key. But just as he was about to hand over the artifact, a dark, powerful presence suddenly stole it from him. This person affirmed that due to the protagonist's little trick, he was now aware that it was possible to trick the players. As a member of the Chilling Winds entered the scene, the hero, who was annoyed by the Demon Lord's blood magic, realized that he was in a tough situation. Just like that, the hero was once again face to face with Jiang He-yuan, who assumed him to be dead. The player then charged at his old classmate, apologizing as he stated that he was being paid to assassinate him. Kenji blocked the sword with his staff. The vampire then affirmed that he didn't care about President Jiang, seeing how the demon clan now had access to the hidden dungeon. Just like that, the hidden dungeon Rust Lake Cathedral had been activated, and with the system making the 3 strongest present players enter it. The system then explained that this dungeon was ideal for exploring and filled with special artifacts. As he entered the hidden map, our hero finally realized why Wang always showed up when Jiang He-yuan harassed him. Back in Chen Jie's hard high school days, the bully affirmed that he only harassed him due to his irritating exceptional talent. According to him, rich people had something to inherit and work for, while commoners like our hero would end up licking someone's boots. Just then, Wang arrived stating that he had already complained to the teacher, before helping the protagonist walk away. Back to the present, as Chen Ji suffered an attack to the shoulder by a fiery drone, a voice asked him if he was aware of the one who placed a bounty on his head. Our hero then launched a powerful fire spell that resulted in a great explosion upon impact. The young man was shocked to see that the hired killer was using the ghost-faced bird, which was an indestructible item exclusive to the hidden map. As the protagonist did his best to outrun the item, his user asked him to cry and bleed as he was recording the scene on the president's demand. Kenji then asked his past classmate about the reason behind Wang's spite towards him, yet the bully refused to give a proper response. This triggered the young man, who screamed, affirming that he won't let Wang Tangru have his way. The bully then asked the hero to beg for his life for production's sake, and explained that despite not being able to spare him, he shall give him a quick death. With no energy left, the young man had no choice but to buy some time. Chenji offered to pay him double the price given by Wang, making him realize that his target was trying to bribe him. The healer confirmed, stating that his refusal would mean that he became the servant of their old classmate. Jiang affirmed to the hero that even his best friend wanted him dead, when suddenly a beam of light caught his attention. The bully took this opportunity to sneak his drone behind the young man, affirming that he should just accept his fate after suffering such a betrayal. Just like that, a deadly fire beam was launched at our hero. Shortly after, the assassin found himself in front of a doll upon coming to check for the body. This was the cotton doll item that allows one to create an illusion of himself that dissolves after one hit. As he activated the skill patrol, the hired killer remembered how his target was most familiar with this map and its items. After quickly locating the hero, Jiang used the gate of passage that allowed one to teleport within the secret map, in order to appear right in front of the target, who used the skill World Apart to gain some distance. As the killer kept on enjoying the hunt, the prey began to complain about this dungeon having too many items, as if dealing with the invincible drone wasn't hard enough. As the chase kept going on, the two of them came across a suppressed demon lord. The vampire began to beg the human for help, seeing how he regretted walking into this cathedral. But to his surprise, the messenger just kept on running while thanking him for playing the scapegoat, making the vampire deny the healer in front of the assassin. Jiang then used his Earth Annihilation. Its power left the powerful demon lord in awe in front of its destructive capability. But just before the player could finish off the demon lord, Kenji, who snuck behind him, decided to give him a taste of his own medicine as he replicated his Earth Annihilation, before teleporting himself in front of the demon lord. With that, the powerful blast went off. The hero affirmed that this time he would face the bully head-on, but Jiang wasn't impressed, as he, who is immortal, is far superior to someone who can copy skills. As the fight kept going on, the demon lord felt touched by the human who shielded him with his life. Chenji affirmed that he wasn't the same as before, which Jiang confirmed, stating that he looks more like a coward now. Just then, magical instruments were activated. As the hero dashed between them, the protagonist was then left baffled as the bully pointed out Wang's envy towards him. Back then, when the hero's work won the annual Most Worthy Game Adaptation Award, Wang praised the young prodigy, stating that no one could overlook his worth from now on. Wang even used to defend our hero and the rights to his works from the rich buyers. The beaten-up young man even proposed to start a company with Chen Ji, where he handles the work as he takes care of the capital instead of relying on the rich bullies. Later on, it was Wang who proposed to our hero to test his own game, making him think of how their friendship should have lasted forever, as he truly seemed like someone who wanted to help. But in reality, Wang turned out to be a traitor waiting to devour his prey. Suddenly, the young man was snapped out of his thoughts by a reaching hand. Having grabbed him by the neck, the bully called out the hero for the bitter taste of betrayal. With that, Jiang decided to reveal that he was in fact getting paid to harass Chen-ji, and the employer was none other than Wang Tangru. With that, the bully decapitated his target. But in reality, this was the map-exclusive item called Flower of Malice that kills its target with one attack, having been forged on angelic blood. The bully was left annoyed to have encountered this item once again. With that, Jiang lost one of his many lives. The hidden hero then decided to continue his plan as he began to chant the incantation. Just like that, the instruments formed the Cancer constellation, whose music will awaken the past demon king who hates music, which is why he will need a blood offering to appease his wrath. This hidden map was used by Lilith's predecessor in order to imprison his malicious intents to go off the radar before his disappearance. This idea of a hidden dungeon, which was taken and expanded from a novel, left the Immortal One unimpressed, as he considered himself the divinity of the game. Chen-ji was left irritated by this claim as Jiang dared to call himself a god inside his game despite the years of harassment he inflicted upon him. The protagonist was more than determined to settle the score with Jiang using the very work he insulted. Meanwhile, the Demon Lord was left amazed by the previous Demon King's presence, as it meant that the healer's claim of summoning him was the truth, when suddenly, Chen-ji slammed his face into the rock. According to this entity, mortals don't deserve to look at divinity, and having recognized the bully as the one who decimated his home, the evil one became determined to punish him. The amused player charged at the giant, only to be quickly grabbed by it and crushed in his palm, taking one more of his lives. The previous Demon King then slammed the young man into the ground, killing him once again. As he tried to get up, Jiang affirmed that he was invincible in this game, only to be targeted by the previous Demon King's skill. Jiang dwelled in pain as lightning began to impale him, and so the carnage went on and on as the bully kept on losing his lives. After reaching 0, the system urged him to get off the game in order to preserve his brain unharmed, as the pain became too intense. Chen-ji was now determined to make his enemies taste the very flames of hell. Meanwhile, the villain, watching it all from the real world, began to curse the bully's incompetence. Just then, the scientist explained that the hired gun's body had entered a state similar to that of the protagonist's, the only difference being that Chen-ji's mind was still functional within the game. Determined to kill the creator at all costs, President Wang demanded a bounty hunter immediately. After destroying the device, our hero felt disappointed that his enemy had watched the whole scene, which will only grow his obsession, forcing the young man to disappear from the map. Meanwhile, Doom affirmed to the players that they must give him tributes in time, while the Blood Lord was left overjoyed by the treasure procured due to our hero. When asked if he enjoys treasure, the vampire confirmed. With that, the hero with a malicious face asked him if he wanted to go somewhere with even more riches, which the greedy one accepted. Seeing how they were in a rush, the Demon Lord decided to use something other than his blood, in order to use the skill Blood Demon talent that allows one to open up a portal. As our heroes left, the freed players felt overjoyed. Chen-ji desired something at the pinnacle of the tower. Just then, Lai Mengfeng used her angel shield in order to shield her party from the fallen acid, as they were too amazed by the number of foes. This was a level 40 instance dungeon named White Night Abyss, which was guarded by Azathoth, the one who trapped countless souls. Chen-ji tried to stop the blood demon, who charged and blinded by treasure, but it was too late as he had already activated the dungeon. With that, the countless monsters charged at the Demon Lord, only for Chen-ji to intervene and save him. Seeing how there was no end to the monsters, the hero asked his party to help him get out of this situation. Doom and Lai Mengfen quickly agreed. The angel found the monsters to be weaklings, while Jun found this to be the perfect opportunity for him to test his new strength after leveling up. Chen-ji then used the glitch in order to turn an enemy healing spell into a lifesteal spell that heals allies by targeting the foes. Feeling his body overflowing with energy, the vampire decided to unleash a powerful attack. His slash was so powerful that it went through the monsters. Chen-ji then urged his party to discreetly hurry to the top in order to keep the dungeon's boss asleep, when suddenly our hero noticed some green fog appearing, leaving him alerted. This was due to the slumbering of Azathoth, the being of dark and nothingness, and once he wakes up, the White Night Abyss will be plunged into chaos. The mage in front of the entity expressed her disgust as it had many faces. The dungeon boss wanted to kill her for having disturbed its slumber. This was none other than Hearts, the level 35 mage who serves the moon deity, using its power to replicate all skills in existence, who dared the monster to attack her. The monster immediately attacked her with his light of chaos, only for her to remain unfazed as she summoned the guardian of the moon, who casually swallowed the attack. Upon consuming the ray, the moon deity created a new card for Hearts called Chaos Moon that presented the creature as the projection of a divine being and allowed the user to use a modified version of his skill. Seeing how the being wasn't truly divine made the mage mock the dungeon boss. This triggered the monster, who swore to kill her for this insolence. But the mage remained unfazed as she dared him to take her down. With that, the both of them clashed once again. Hearts, who was surprised to see how much this dungeon had to offer, affirmed that the one she serves longed for the monster's essence. As the fight kept going on, the rubble began to fall from the ceiling. almost squashing our hero, who was left irritated by whoever had triggered the boss's mist. The young man then felt a presence lurking behind his back, so he quickly dispelled it. Lai Mengfen and the two demon lords found themselves lost in the mist, unable to locate their allies, when suddenly both the fire and blood demon found themselves being attacked. But in reality, this was the effect of the mist toying with their minds, making each think of the other as an enemy. The hero felt alerted, seeing how this mist protected the boss and his goons while harming them, urging him to exit it at all costs. Just then, Shenji heard the voices of someone spotting him and affirming to the vice president that he must be their assigned target. The voice seemed to come from the lower floors. A party of players rushed our hero after finally locating him. The hero was surprised as he didn't expect the chilling Wind Guild to enter the scene. Shenji was determined to put his hands on the treasure of the dungeon before the unexpected guests in order to avoid being put in a tough situation. The item in question was the Eye of Chaos that allows one to fuse his past, present, and future self, making time meaningless, as it was the source of it. The head of the men urged his squad to kill a monster before Hearts in order to get their hands on all the treasure. Shenji then realized that the players were protected from the mist by the lamp in their possession, and that he must steal it at all costs as his allies' lives were at stake. As he charged into the enemy, one of the players realized that he was after their lamp. With that, all readied their weapons. Yet it was too late, as the hero had cast the skill Light of Purification upon them that cures an entire group from any negative effect inflicted upon it. But due to the bug, the healing spell plunged the party into a state of chaos, allowing its caster to successfully steal the lamp. This light was none other than the divine Elwing lamp that protects all who are under its light from the mist that our hero used to awake his sleeping allies. Upon waking up, the girl couldn't help but admire him, speculating that he truly was the archangel that guides lost souls. Just then, a great explosion occurred on the higher floors. A mage on a giant plume emerged from the dust. Hearts was flying away from the four-faced monster. Just then, a figure appeared in its eye. The demon lord of destruction urged the monster to either kill or release him, as he and his kin will never bend their knees to some unknown deity. Just like that, red tentacles emerged from the boss's eye, plunging him into atrocious pain as he cursed all of his foes with eternal darkness. With that, Shenji urged his party not to look into the monster's left eye as it risked plunging them into the void of chaos.